Hey everyone, I'll be explaining the 5 phases of the focus process here, and I'll be showing a good and bad example for each phase. So for the first phase, formulating the plan, this one includes identifying a central message, being mindful of your audience, and making sketches for planning prior to implementation. So I think that Ducati does a really good job of keeping a simple message all throughout the entire website, which is to enjoy the experience of thrill that their products offer. So as you can see, all of the pictures they chose to use shows their customers on motorcycles, either having fun on the track, out exploring, or just out riding with friends. And even though the pictures are of different things, it does keep the same general picture, which is the experience that Ducati is trying to push out to the customers. And I think the company is doing a really good job of that. And a bad example of this, in my opinion, is Arcadia Motorcycle. And their website is also somewhat simple. The pictures they choose to use just doesn't really reflect their central message of selling motorcycles as they are a motorcycle dealership. So the message, as you can see in the block of text here, is competitive pricing, knowledgeable staff, and superior customer service, but yet their pictures don't seem to reflect that at all. They don't have any pictures of their products with customers or their staff or happy customers. Instead, they kind of look like they just plucked random pictures from the internet, and it doesn't really match up with their message. So the second phase of the focus process is to organize the layout, which includes shape, proximity, and alignment. For this, I chose a good example that should be pretty well known by everyone, which is Craigslist. And although this website is extremely basic, there's not too much going on design-wise, but if you do look closely, they do group everything together using font. So the font is bigger here, and it's in bold, and these fonts have a thinner font weight, and on the side here they have a normal weight here, and then they make the font thicker for things such as provinces as opposed to cities. And they also have a really good utilization of white space. So the white space on the sides here along the bottom here, this gives a very clean feel and doesn't kind of overcrowd the viewer, even though they do have a lot of content in the website. And in contrast, a bad example of this is a website called Arngren.net, and similar to Craigslist, Arngren has a lot of content, but they don't seem to utilize white space at all. Everything is really squished together. It's really hard to kind of differentiate one item from another just because they're so close in proximity. So moving on to the third phase of contrasting elements, which includes asymmetry, value, and color. And a really good example of good use of color is this website Cars.com. And this website uses complementary colors violet and lime. So most of their main colors are violet, as you can see different shades of violet here. Throughout the website is also violet, and the only thing that is a different color is lime, which is their call to action buttons here, their search and get started. So when you first look at the website, everything's really clean, and then your eyes get drawn to the contrasting colors here, which in my opinion is perfect. It's not overwhelming, but it gets the attention where it needs to be. And a bad example of use of color is this website called lingscar.com. So this website, as you can see, they have blue here for the banner, and they have green under it, and then red, and they have yellow, they have lime, they have violet, and then they have a button that's just pretty much all the colors of the rainbow. And even though it does really give good contrast, I think that this is way too much contrast, and I think, in my opinion, when you try to use colors to give contrast, is try to draw attention to a certain point of the website, such as Cars.com. This lime button here draws attention to the call to action button, whereas this is just so many colors, the contrast doesn't give the same effect anymore. Moving on to the fourth phase of focus, which is to unify the parts, includes repetition, rhythm, and gestalt. One of the rules in this phase is the rules of odds, which is to have an odd number of elements to give a bit of a dynamic touch. And a really good example of this is Amazon.ca. So Amazon.ca uses the rules of odds for pretty much everything. Starting from the navigation here, they have 5 buttons up here, to these blocks over here. So there's 3 blocks here, or if you include these two, there's 5 blocks, and that continues all the way down the website. So even though the website layout itself is really basic, using the rules of odds, it kind of gives it a bit of a dynamic approach or a dynamic touch. And a bad example of it is pennyjuice.com. So Penny Juice also uses a really simple layout. It's just pretty much one column all the way down, and it's a little bit boring because they use 4 elements per section, and that's an even number. As you can see, there's a title, there's a picture, body, and then call to action, and that just kind of gets repeated all the way down. And the whole thing is it's a little bit too boring. There's not enough asymmetry going on, and I feel that they would do a lot better if they just implement some of the rules, such as the rule of odds, or just even creating more dynamic balance by moving things to the side here and making everything so it's not just centered down the middle. Finally, the last part of the focus process is to simplify the message through evaluation, elimination, and communicating the message. So for this, I'll be using Langero's website as a good example. Langero has a lot of information that they have to show on the website, anywhere from kind of building maps to programs and courses, news and events, or any construction that goes on. And I think they did a really good job with the amount of content they have to eliminate all the clutter. So they categorize all the content and they put it over here nice and neat, and then everything else that they kind of want the user to see, they have it over here. So these would be the news and events, and everything is just nice and simple. It's big pictures, small captions, easy to see, easy to kind of navigate through. And if you scroll down, there's no more information, and this just keeps it really simple and pleasing to the eye. And in contrast, without the process of elimination, you have a company called Gates and Fences. So they also have a lot of content, obviously, a couple pictures here, but they do have way too much text that's just kind of squished together into blocks. They didn't take out anything that they didn't need. So for example, navigation here, they have all the main categories, and then they also show the subcategories right underneath it, and that just makes a really big list, makes it really busy, kind of hard to go through to find exactly what you're looking for. And I think they could have done a much better job even by just taking out the subcategories from the main page and just listing the main categories, or have it drop down during mouse overs or anything like that. And that concludes my assignment. Thank you for watching.